Alright guys, so I love ramen and my wife does too, and I've really been wanting to have some ramen at home. I've tried a couple times making it at home, but it's always been really lackluster. But now I want to see if I can nail this recipe and make it exactly what you can find in a real ramen restaurant. Alright guys, so the first thing I'm going to do is research what kind of ramen I actually want to make. Turns out there's actually quite a few different types of ramen. You got Shayao ramen, Shoyu ramen, Tonkatsu ramen, Sapporo ramen, Kagoshima ramen, Onomichi ramen, and Wakayama ramen. So that's a lot of different types of ramen. I'm definitely not going to make all those. Let's just figure out which one is the most popular. Alright, so according to Google AI, the most popular types of ramen are Tonkatsu ramen. I just had Tonkatsu ramen last night, so why don't we just stick with the basics and try that. So after doing a bit of research, I actually figured out that there's quite a bit that actually has to be done in order to make ramen. There's a few ingredients that I'm going to have to get. Actually more than a few, it's like 20 plus ingredients. So let's head to the store and see what we can find there. Alright guys, so we came over here to Harris Teeter and we were looking for all the ingredients on that list, and I think we only found about one, which wasn't even that accurate. It was just kind of similar. So now we're going to go over to like a real Oriental grocery store and see what we can find. Alright guys, so this is kind of what we're up against. They have these dry ramen noodles here at these Asian stores, and you also see them in Harris Teeter, but we actually want the authentic thing, so that's why we're on this mission, because while these are fun, they're not quite the real ramen experience that you get at a real Japanese restaurant. Alright guys, so we found mirin, one of the ingredients out of the many. But it's actually not true mirin. It's actually like a fake mirin. So I don't know if we're going to try this or not. Let's just see what happens. Maybe we'll try it, maybe we won't. Alright, so before we start this whole process, let's look into see what actually makes a great bowl of ramen. According to Google, a truly good bowl of ramen, and I quote, hinges on a harmonious balance of several key elements, creating a complex and satisfying culinary experience. Alright, so let's see the exact qualities that we're looking for here. Okay, number one, the broth, which is, quote, the foundation of flavor. Okay, it should be rich and complex. A good ramen broth is the heart and soul of the dish, boasting a deep, layered flavor profile. It's definitely true. The second thing that makes a great bowl of ramen are the noodles. They need to be chewy and springy. They have to have a slight eggy taste to them. And they need to have a nice thickness and shape. And last but not least, we have the toppings. For the toppings, variety is key. Toppings are a crucial part of ramen, adding visual appeal and textural contrast. I'm going to try to accomplish these three qualities, and we'll see how it turns out in the end. Alright guys, so we're here at Grand Asia Market, and there are a lot of options for products here. We got all sorts of ramen, and there's a whole aisle of noodles basically, and we just have to find exactly what we want, like these ramen noodles, and they have all sorts here. We ended up going with this one here. See what else we got. We're finding a lot of good stuff here at Grand Asia. We had a little bit of confusion because the video I saw was all in Japanese, and they didn't even know here at Grand Asia what the products were. But we found a really nice guy here, and he helped us out, and we located a lot of different things. Next, we're going to go over to the next supermarket to get the rest of the items. Alright guys, so we're trying to find the ingredients And it turns out there's this thing called shoyu, which is actually just soy sauce. But as you can see, we got like a whole aisle here of soy sauces. And we're trying to figure out which one is which because it's like in Japanese. Alright guys, so now that we got everything, let's get started on this recipe. First thing that the recipe calls for is shasu, which is basically sliced pork done in a specific way. Alright guys, so I realized that I actually don't know how to cook when I just turned the stove on here. So I asked my wife if she'd be willing to do the recipe for me. And since she's so amazing, she said yes. And so I'm just going to be filming her and watching the process. You put your pork belly into a pot and add 300 ml of water along with 100 ml of cooking sake, and then bring it to a boil. Love, are you excited about making the ramen?
Oh yeah, this is a lot of work to do, but let's see. Ooh. Smells good.
Yeah, I smelled a little bit. It's kind of good, yeah. Hey guys, if you're liking this video so far, make sure to like and subscribe. That really helps us out. Thank you. So how do you feel about making this ramen? Are you confident?
I'm not really confident, but I'm gonna go with the flow. Whatever happens, be it. So this is an adventure, guys. We really do love adventure, so stay tuned. This is really fun, huh?
Yeah. Alright guys, so we're basically just here waiting for the chazu, aka pork belly, to finish cooking. Once that's done, we'll move on to the ramen sauce. Alright guys, so the next step is preparing the mussels. Add 200 grams of mussels without the shells, and then add 250 milliliters of water. Boil it. Alright guys, so she just strained these mussels, and as you can see there's like a mussel broth here, which is called like daishi or something like that. Alright guys, so she puts the sauce back into the pot minus the mussels, and we're going to use that as the base for the rest of the ramen sauce. Alright guys, so this is actually pretty exciting news here. This ramen sauce is actually really starting to smell like ramen, believe it or not, and like real ramen. So this is coming together here. She's just boiling it. Once this finishes, we're going to set this ramen sauce aside and the pork belly aside and just let it sit overnight, and then we'll finish the rest of the recipe tomorrow. Alright guys, so it's day 3 here of making this bowl of ramen. I never knew it took 3 days to make one bowl of ramen, but here we are. Today we're going to finish up the shizu, which is the pork belly, and then we'll do the ramen broth. And we got to cut up the toppings and then put it all together. Alright, let's go. Alright guys, so we got a whole pot of pork bones here, and we filled it up with water. We just basically got to let that boil for 2 hours. Alright, so next up we're going to finish off the pork belly that we started yesterday. We're going to caramelize that pork and slice it up. All right, so basically this can make a nice marinade here, and then she will do something with it later. This is what cooking ramen looks like.
Me?
Yeah.
They look like a cooking ramen.
All right, guys, so there's the caramelized pork belly. All right, guys, so it's at a rolling boil now. We're just gonna go ahead and let it simmer for 2 hours. That's about 2 hours of simmering. All right, so basically she has to drain off 90% of the water, and then it'll be used back in the broth again to make more broth, I guess. I'm not sure. And we get free pork out of it. All right, guys, so we're gonna now add pork fat into this broth and then cook it for another 90 minutes. And then we'll add the two back together, and that should be our ramen soup. And now the ramen broth has actually turned out really well. It's getting milky white looking, and pretty soon we'll be able to combine the other one that we strained out before and then bring it all together and actually have dinner tonight. Okay, now so Maya has the bok choy going on over here. She just put it in, it's boiling. And while she's doing that, she has the spring onions over here. She's slicing those up, getting them ready, and soon she'll be getting the mushrooms together as well. And then after that, I'm gonna cook the ramen itself. All right, there it is, guys, the ramen. The ramen noodles themselves. It only took about 5 minutes to cook them, and they cook really fast, and they seem to soak up just about all the water they can. All right, guys, we're getting close now. Maya's gonna strain the ramen broth. Here. All right, so guys, first you just put 30 ml of ramen sauce in there, and then we'll add the ramen broth next.
There you go.
Yeah!
Hey!
Woo. We did it!
Yeah.
All right, so here it is. The final result after 3 days of work.
Oh, wow.
Wow. A day of shopping, a day of preparation, and another day of preparation and finishing it off. It's about 9:43 p.m. here. We've been working since 4 p.m. And we got ourselves 2 bowls of tenkatsu ramen.
Yeah.
Hopefully just like a real Japanese restaurant. We're gonna try it out now and get right back to you. And yeah, we're excited about this one. All right, guys, so last night we had the ramen and we ended up eating around like 9:45 p.m. or so. It's really late and I didn't have enough time to film, but I wanna give you a quick recap now. So the ramen, yeah, it turned out to be okay, I guess. At first I thought it was pretty tasty and I was thinking, yeah, maybe it's about an 8, but then I realized it was really oily. I'm not exactly sure what happened because we followed the recipe word by word, but it was just way more oily and more greasy than what it should have been. So my initial thoughts going from an 8, the more I ate, I realized, hey, this isn't actually working out very good. It's just so oily. I got to drop it down to 7, and then I'd eat a little bit more, and then I dropped it down to a 6. But other than that, I think the rest of it was okay. Let's go through each category here and see how we did. All right, so rich and flavorful broth, I'd probably say we got about a 5. That oil just kind of brought the score way down. As for the noodles, I think they turned out pretty good actually. They were al dente and they tasted really nice. So I'm gonna give those about a 9. And as for the toppings, I thought they were pretty good. We have bok choy, the green onions, some mushrooms, and the bamboo shoots were really good. Yeah, I thought it was pretty tasty. And as far as presentation, babe, I'd say like a 7.5. We ended up buying a ramen bowl from Target, which helped with the presentation, but maybe we don't have enough experience to like lay out all the ingredients nice enough yet. Overall, guys, I think it's a pretty fun experience. It was way more than I thought it was going to be as in terms of time required. We ended up spending like $85, and I think we'll maybe get about 10 bowls out of it. So in that regard, it's about $8.50 per bowl, not too bad. But considering it took us like 3 days to do it, I think we might just stick with the ramen restaurants. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Be sure to like and subscribe.